building the brand, it has to be something that you're personally, like, intrinsically motivated to create.
Welcome to Honest E-commerce, where we're dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running an online business does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. If you're struggling with scaling your sales, Electric Eye is here to help. To apply to work with us, visit electriceye.io/connect to learn more. Now let's get on with the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Honest E-commerce. I am your host, Chase Clymer, and today we welcome another amazing brand founder to the show. I know that the crowd, well, I guess you don't have crowds with a podcast audience, I guess. The audience really enjoys when I speak with brand founders. They find it very, very impactful and insightful. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show Sarah Moret from Curie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Apparently, it is hot where we're both from. So, we're dealing with that.
Just cranked up the AC.
Absolutely. Cool. So I guess let's just dive on in with these episodes. It's really fun to just start at the beginning. So before you launched the brand, you were in venture capital, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what's the journey like from venture capital to, starting your own brand?
Well, so I spent about 5 years in venture capital before I started my brand. Before that, I actually was a CPA, worked at a Big Four accounting firm, realized very quickly that is not the right career path for someone that doesn't really like to follow rules. That is precisely what accounting is. And so I quickly learned that was not the right career for me. I was really looking for something with more creativity and ability to, talk with people. And I'm an extrovert. I'm a social butterfly. Let's be real. So I left my career in accounting, moved to San Francisco, and joined a seed stage venture capital fund. I was there for about 2 years, started on the finance side, and hustled my way onto the investing team. So I was doing finance and accounting and more back office work, started just showing up at pitch meetings, and ended up finding my way onto the investment side. And so I worked there, and then another fund down in LA where I was focused more on direct to consumer, mostly direct to consumer technology, like apps, marketplaces, stuff like that. But this was 2016, 2017. It was when really direct to consumer brands were starting to become venture backed. Like, it was becoming more normal. We were seeing some venture returns in brand, direct to consumer brands. And so we started to look at a couple companies, and I got really, really interested in the ability to grow and scale a brand using technology and how low the barriers had become. So with Shopify, like with Stripe, like all the barriers that initially existed in building a scalable direct to consumer brand all of a sudden came down, and you could really bootstrap. We were seeing companies that were bootstrapped and growing $100 million brands within 3 to 5 years. And that just wasn't possible before. And so I started to become fascinated with clean beauty. And, there was this, especially in LA, we had Moon Juice open up around the corner from my office. Beauty Counter started while I was in venture. We looked at them. Goop was starting to become more mainstream and in creating their marketplace. And I just saw this happen all before my eyes. And I just became obsessed with swapping out all my products for healthier versions. I started flipping all my products over and actually paying attention to the ingredient lists, and was really, really shocked by how little, regulatory oversight there is on skincare products, especially. And so I started to, swap all my products and become really interested in the space. And during that process, I personally was trying to find a aluminum-free deodorant. I had read about the harmful effects of aluminum and parabens and all the chemicals that are in your drugstore antiperspirants. And that is the one product I could not find that actually worked. I kept trying every brand under the sun. Within like an hour, I would have been better off just not wearing anything. Like I smelled terrible. And so that's really how the idea for Curie was born. It was, partially coming from that venture background and seeing how brands were building and scaling using, off the shelf technology. And then at the same time, it was just a personal need. I couldn't find a good natural deodorant. I felt like there was a gap in the market. And I also felt like there was overall this stigma that natural products just didn't work as well. That was really, a customer sentiment was like you were kind of sacrificing something by switching to natural products. And so that really was the idea behind Curie, is to prove that stigma wrong, create really, really effective personal care products that are also made with clean ingredients so that they're safe for you. But first and foremost, they have to work. People aren't going to continue to buy the products if they don't work. So I started to work with a chemist down in LA. Our first product was the deodorant. It took like 9 months to develop. But once I put it on the market, I created the website myself with Shopify, really bootstrapped it with my own savings and saw some early traction that made me decide to take the leap and grow the brand.
That's amazing. So I do have a question for you. How long were you searching for this solution on your own for this product? That like, how long were you searching for it until it dawned on you that like you might have to tackle this yourself and like this might be your next project?
I don't remember how long, but it felt like a long time. Let's just say I tried everything. My friends and family were like, shut up about natural deodorant. Like, why are you so obsessed? I was asking everyone. I was doing Twitter polls. I was asking people on Instagram, like, who actually has a natural deodorant that works? Because none of them work. And I would say it was probably a 6-month journey of trying things out, trying to make my own, doing research on ingredients, and finally decided, hey, why not just try it out. Let's see if we can make one that's better. And so in my typical CPA fashion, I created a spreadsheet of every potential ingredient that was, an odor absorber or an odor neutralizer, and created a whole spreadsheet of ingredients and tested every product, did a whole matrix of what worked, what didn't work, and then brought that to our lab that we ended up using for the first formula, and was like, hey, I have an idea of what I want to put in it. You guys help me make it smooth, make it effective, make it, all the important qualities. And it took a while. I think we iterated on the first formula probably over 20 times. So I think a lot of first-time founders are, especially in personal care, are a little naive. And I definitely was. I went into it being like, we'll have a product in 3 months. But that typically does not happen, especially for a product like natural deodorant is really challenging. And so it took much longer than I thought it would. But hey, I still had a day job. And I didn't have any investors that were pushing me. So it really turned out to be an advantage that I started the company kind of as a side hustle, because it let me take my time and make sure that we got the formula right.
It's wild to me how similar your story is to Marnie's story from Thigh Society. I don't know if you're familiar with her products, but she almost to a T was saying she was walking around just annoying people, asking them about, these types of products that she was like that she would soon come to offer. So it's funny.
That's how it happens. Like, I think for a lot of people, it starts out as an obsession, and especially a lot of bootstrapped founders, because to take that leap and put your own savings into building the brand, it has to be something that you're personally, like, intrinsically motivated to create. And I think for a lot of people, it comes out of a personal need.
Awesome. Want to get each new episode of Honest E-commerce sent straight to your phone? Join our VIP texting list for updates on new episodes and exclusive deals from our partners. Text Honest VIP, that's HONEST VIP, to 72599 to join. By the way, we're powering our text messages with Postscript, the #1 text message marketing app for Shopify stores. Check out the show notes for a link to install Postscript for free today. So I got a few questions about kind of just like, fast forwarding. You've been doing this for a while. How long were you working on the brand? How long were you after launch? Did it take you to feel comfortable with transitioning out of having a full-time job and just diving all in?
Yeah, that's a good question. It definitely took me longer than I think I should have taken. So I spent actually the first year. So we launched in April of 2018, or no, May of 2018. And I spent the entire first year still with a full-time job. And I think what I realized, and actually what really I had been thinking already, we were doing pretty well. We were growing month over month. We didn't have any marketing spend. It was all organic growth, and we were seeing double-digit percentage growth month over month. And it was all just word of mouth. Influencers would post about it. A couple of celebrities got their hands on it. We got coverage in Glamour, despite not having a PR team or anything formal. And so I was seeing a lot of product market fit and all the stuff that we would look for in venture when evaluating companies. But the idea of leaving my full-time job was scarier than I had anticipated. So it took me longer. I kind of wish that I had gone all in earlier. But I listened to, have you listened to Phil Knight's book, Shoe Dog?
It's on my to-do list. I have a pile of books. I actually like reading books. I can't listen to books. I will fall asleep. I don't know why. But I have a pile of physical books, and it's in there. I've got so many.
Yeah. So I listened to that book, the audible of that book, around like the 9-month mark of the business. We were seeing a lot of growth, seeing a lot of traction. I was still at my full-time job, and I was listening to that book, and he said, and I wish I had the exact quote, but he said in the book when he started Nike, he's like, I went all in. And I knew that if I didn't go all in on this idea, on this business, and it failed, I would always wonder what if, versus like if I just put, one foot in, one foot out. And if I go all in and it fails, I'll always regret not going all in. Or whatever. I can't remember the quote, but
I think we know what you're saying is you gotta make the dive.
You know what I'm saying? He basically said, you got to go all in. If you don't, and you're always going to regret that. And so I left my job shortly after that. I did end up raising a convertible note, and off to the races. We hired a team, we did a rebrand, and we've now since then launched 2 additional products, which is our spray deodorant and our hand sanitizer.
Awesome. So I got a question for you, because I always talk about this in the podcast. Other than brand founders like yourself, I'm always talking to subject matter experts like in the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And something we always talk about, how it's hard to help brands before they get that product market fit. And with your background in venture, what were some of the indicating factors you were looking for in these brands, where you like, it seems like they have product market fit? So what are things that young entrepreneurs should be looking for within their upstart product businesses where they might be onto something?
So I'll tell you, because it really varies depending on the company.
Absolutely.
For us, like when I started Curie, part of the attractive, thing about the business model is that with deodorant and with hand sanitizer and with the products that we're selling, they're typically repeat purchase products. Like if you find a deodorant that you really love, you're going to keep buying it. Prior to starting Curie, prior to starting this natural deodorant journey, I used the same brand for like 10 years. And so it really depends on the business, the different metrics that you look at. But for a business like mine, where if you like the product, you're going to continue buying it every 2 to 3 months. My biggest metric that I was paying attention to was repeat purchase rate. So I was looking for, okay, if we see a repeat, the number that I had in my head was we want to keep our repeat purchase rate above 30%. That's pretty high for the industry, but I felt like was a reasonable metric for us, just given how the nature of the product and that it should be a repeatable purchase if you like it. So I think it was really quickly we exceeded that threshold. And then another important metric for us is conversion rate. If you're in, this, being in digital marketing, driving customers to your website is great, but if they're not purchasing on the website, it's useless. And so we pay really close attention to our conversion rate. We've had a really, really high conversion rate since starting. I think our average last quarter was 3%. So if we can maintain that level of conversion rate and maintain that level of repeat purchase rate, it makes it really easy to get that flywheel going. And when we do, start with putting some major spend behind digital marketing, we can have some predictability in what that's going to look like and growing the business.
Absolutely. This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo. Klaviyo helps brands deliver more personalized digital marketing experiences via email, SMS messages, social ads, and more. And since it's all driven by real-time e-commerce data, you can make sure every interaction feels more relevant. When you have a 360-degree view of the customer, the growth possibilities are endless. Visit klaviyo.com to schedule a demo. That's KLAVIYO.com. So, with your business coming from your accounting background, I'm assuming that you guys are all about the numbers over there?
Yes, I'm all about the numbers, and our whole team is. We're pretty data driven. Our CMO, who joined in October of last year, she came from Uber, where she ran marketing for years, and was there really a data driven organization as well. So we really try to make every decision based on the numbers rather than just relying on gut or anything else.
Absolutely. So you mentioned something as part of the growth of the business. You guys a convertible note. So for those that aren't familiar with that, or don't know what that kind of opportunity is, I guess could you shed a little light on that?
Yeah. So there's different options when you're raising outside financing for the first time. What you typically see is either a priced round or a note of some sort, which a convertible note, you'll hear sometimes about safe notes, KISS notes. There's all different types of convertible notes. They're all essentially debt. So when you're raising your first round of outside capital, what we would typically recommend when I worked in venture capital and what we would see most founders doing is if you're raising, let's say, less than $1 million, typically it's easier, it's quicker, it's cheaper to just do some type of convertible debt, like a convertible note, a safe, or a KISS. That is quick and easy. You don't even I do recommend if it's your first time raising financing to use a lawyer, but it's going to be way lower fees than if you did a priced round. So a priced round is, if you're raising, I would say over $1 million is when it becomes worthwhile to actually do a full-on priced round. That's when you hear Series Seed, Series A, Series B. That is when you are selling equity in the company rather than just taking on a convertible note.
Absolutely. And then with raising that debt, how is that paid off, or how does that turn into like an investor or a board member? I'm assuming everything's unique in these situations, but what's kind of like the general consensus of those?
It's all really dependent on the founders and the investors. But let's say you raise a $500,000 convertible note. Typically, a convertible note and a safe are structured in a way that it will convert. That's why it's called convertible. It will convert in the next round of financing. Or if you don't raise another round of financing and you get acquired before you raise the next round, then it converts into preferred stock for that. So either it's going to convert. There's two triggers. One of them is next round of financing. So if you raise a $500,000 convertible note and then in 18 months you raise a Series A priced round, that convertible note automatically converts into stock in that next round at an agreed upon price that's usually at a discount to that round. And then alternatively, if the company gets acquired in 12 months, then that convertible note converts automatically to stock, and then the investor gets basically paid out in stock in that way.
Awesome. I really need to get more into figuring that out.
Yeah. It's basically a really easy way to raise financing without it's kind of kicking the can down the road of having to agree on valuation and do all the legal paperwork required to do a price round.
Absolutely. Let's be honest today. All of your customers are going to have questions. And what are you doing to manage all those questions? Do you have a help desk for your business? One of our sponsors of today's episode is Gorgias, and Gorgias is the #1 rated help desk for e-commerce. It integrates seamlessly with Shopify. We have installed it on a bunch of stores. It's also used by brands like Movement and Rothy's. And what it does is it takes all of your customer insights and information, brings it into one amazing dashboard so you can solve their problem as quickly as possible. If you want to give Gorgias a try, visit gorgias.link/honest. That's GORGIAS.LINK/HONEST to get your second month free. So, you're just over 2 years old officially, I would say. What were some of the, you mentioned a little bit before with your first kind of growth tactics, a lot of word of mouth, influencers, celebrity. Where were you focusing your time and energy on marketing after you had established the product? What were you doing to really drive that first initial traffic and exposure to the brand?
I mean, I wish I could say that it was extremely planned like that.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't. I'll tell you what I did. So when I launched the company in 2018, first thing I did was I reached out to all my friends, family, network, everybody I knew. And I said, hey guys, I'm launching this company. We have a natural deodorant. We're launching next week. Please email me your address if you want to try it. And if you try it and you like it, please post on social media and tell all your friends. And so I think we ended up sending like 200 packages out to friends and family. And people were so supportive and posting about us. And that, I think, drove our first, it's a $12 product. I think our first month on the market, we did $5,000 in sales. And I think like most of that was friends and family posting about it. I think the beautiful thing about the product of starting with the natural deodorant is that problem was not unique to me. A lot of people, like most people that I would talk to, were like, oh yeah, natural deodorant doesn't work. And so it was a great product to get that like viral word of mouth, because when people tried it and they liked it, they would post about it and they would tell their friends about it. And people would send me like screenshots. They still do, but this was like really exciting in the early days. People would send me like screenshots of group chats with their friends where they were like, oh, you guys, natural deodorant doesn't work. Does anyone know one that works? And someone would pipe in like, try Curie, and everyone would be like, oh my gosh. And people were ordering it like in bulk for their office. Like in the early days, that was really exciting. Someone from Salesforce bought I think, 4 dozen sticks and gave them all out to all their coworkers because they were all talking about how natural deodorant didn't work. And it was a lot of just feeding that word of mouth, encouraging it. We set up a referral program within a month because we were just seeing so much referral traffic. We figured, let's incentivize people. And then we did a lot of influencer gifting. Again, it was a product that people were talking about. And so it was pretty easy to find influencers that had been, we would just search for keywords on Twitter or look on Instagram at what influencers are posting about. And we would reach out, offer to send them a stick for free, no strings attached. If you like it, great. If not, no worries. And we saw a really good hit rate on people posting. And like I said, we had some like pretty big influencers and celebrities post about it for free just because they were so excited about finding something that worked. So that was basically the strategy at the beginning was just trying to find a way to get in front of as many eyeballs as we could. And most of it was through social media.
Yeah. And not only that, you were kind of putting your money where your mouth was. You were extending free product, and there's obviously an investment in that. Because just showing how much that you believed in it, just to get it out there and just try to get the word of mouth out. So let's fast forward now to now. Obviously, you're a bit more mature of a company. What kind of does the marketing stack look like now? Where are you guys spending your time? Maybe we were talking about channels that you guys spend time in, or whatnot. I'll hand it off over to you.
Yeah, so we actually only recently started doing paid marketing. Like I mentioned, we brought on
I want to stop you there. Yes, because there's so many people that are like, we're gonna get this product live and we're gonna do Facebook ads and we're gonna win. It's so relieving to hear you guys took your time before getting into paid, and you really established your core audience, your avatar perhaps, and found more cheap ways to grow the business, because paid is expensive.
Exactly. Paid is expensive. And what I found was, and I think I got this advice early on from an advisor or something, that it's a lot easier to run paid ads profitably when you already have traffic, because then you get that blend of, a little bit of top of funnel, which typically is more expensive, but then retargeting. So by the time we started running paid ads, we already had a significant following, and we had good traffic on the site. And so it was easier for us to have a better customer acquisition cost through paid channels once we were already established. I don't know if you've seen that with other.
Oh, the hardest thing to do is to profitably do prospecting. Like if you can turn a profit on prospecting to like a younger brand, you're working magic, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time and energy to figure it out. And that translates to an investment in not only a skilled team, also you're burning dollars to try to figure out what will work in these prospecting audiences, because you're not working with a data set to cheat your way to audiences that make sense, like with existing data.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then just the other thing with that is, if you're putting all your eggs in one basket for growth, i.e. like Instagram and Facebook ads, like they change the algorithm or your product category gets banned, your entire business is bankrupt.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, and another thing that we wanted to wait for was getting our AOV up. So we launched with one product, one SKU, one scent, which was our white tea natural deodorant, and it was $12. And so for the first year of the business, first almost year and a half of the business, our average order value was like maybe $16. We had some, discounting if you would order multiple, but it was below $20 because we had a low price point product, which, as you know, that makes it challenging to profitably, acquire customers through digital channels. And so we worked hard over the last, basically I was like, let's get our average order value up before we start running paid ads, or else we're just going to be losing money.
Yep.
And so we've successfully grown our average order value. I would say we've almost tripled it by introducing bundling of products. We sell, tons of our bundles of, we offer a hand sanitizer, a stick deodorant, and a spray deodorant in a cute little case. We have now several SKUs, different sizes, different scents. And so that combined with having an existing audience and having that existing traffic, we decided it's time to start running ads. So at the moment, we're doing Facebook, Instagram, Google, Amazon, and we're seeing a lot of success there right now. It's definitely up and down.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you know, with COVID and everything that's going on right now, it's definitely there's some volatility there. So we're making sure that we keep our organic traffic and our organic growth high, still fostering that word of mouth growth, still fostering our referral program, still doing lots of gifting. We have a great group of micro influencers that are our ambassadors. And then we also are bringing on customers as ambassadors as well. And so that's continuing to help us grow and offset some of that volatility that we see daily on digital channels.
Awesome. And then what about on the email side of things, or just more owned marketing is what the turn of phrase has been a lot lately. How are you guys dealing with that?
Yeah, we do. We have a pretty robust email list, and I think email is our best channel. So we do really well on email and email marketing campaigns. We use Klaviyo, and they're great. And we also started to ramp up on content, blog content specifically, and really SEO driven blog content. I think there's a lot of curiosity and interest that people have around natural products.
Yeah, you've got a product that people are searching for. Those terms are
exactly. So people are searching. People want answers. People hear, "Oh, is there really a natural deodorant transition period?" Or with hand sanitizer, like we have our hand sanitizer is really unique in that we put hyaluronic acid in it. And that's something so hyaluronic acid is it's a humectant, and it basically...
You guys can't see the weird face I made.
I'm like, I swear it sounds scary, but if you are into skincare, hyaluronic acid is basically the best skincare serum that you can use. It's in every high-end skincare serum and lotion. And so we put it in hand sanitizer, something that hadn't been done before. And it makes our hand sanitizer super silky and really hydrating. And so that in itself is writing blog content about what are our ingredients? What do they do? Why are we using them? Where are they sourced from? These are all questions that people are Googling and they're asking. And so it was a slow, I would say the advice that I give other founders about growing a blog is it takes time. You don't see an impact for months. And we've, over those months, stopped and started and stopped and started. And we've been like, oh, this isn't actually doing anything. Let's take a break. And then all of a sudden, 4 months later, our traffic from 4 of our blog posts is driving 30% of the traffic for 1 month.
Yeah. Content is such a slow play, but it's probably the hardest system to build within your business. And it's just get it out of the way, get started on building it. And the best thing about it is you can start slow and ramp it up.
Yeah, our CMO ran the blog at Uber. And so I'm really grateful for her because I was the one that was like, we're not seeing much of an impact from this. Are you sure this is worth it? And now I'm like, we need more blog content. This is amazing. And along the way, she's like, it's going to take time. SEO takes time. And she was right. So that's an important word of advice I would give anyone that's considering investing in content, is that you have to be consistent and you have to just wait. And it's a waiting game. And then one day you're going to see an impact.
I've been doing this so long now. You're nearing episode 100. I don't know like what the actual number is, but it's so funny now. It's like I ask these questions.
You're a pro.
I already know the answers before you say it. I just ask I ask these leading questions because there are so many similarities in growing a brand. Obviously, the products are different and the marketing tactics might be different, but like the ones that work are always the same answer. You know, you're investing time in your AOV, in your conversion rate up front to make sure that things are working. Then you move into paid. Email is a giant part of the brand.
That's the thing. There's no trick. And there's no quick, and everyone's always looking for like that quick fix or that quick trick or hack. And I've learned that there is no such thing. Like if you want a brand that's going to continue to grow and be a long lasting, success, it's like daily work that you have to put into it. And it's sometimes frustrating because you don't see overnight success. But if you just keep chipping away at it, keep writing those blog posts, keep tweaking your creative and copy on your ads, keep, launching new products, like eventually you'll see the fruits of your labor. It's just sometimes not instant.
Yeah, I mean, it boils down to effort in equals results out. Like it's just a simple formula there. Sarah, you've been an amazing guest. Is there anything that I didn't ask of you today, or just anything that you'd like to share with the audience before we go?
Only thing I would like to share is check out our products, curiebod.com. We have the hand sanitizer, which is our newest product, and we have the stick and the spray deodorant. The spray deodorant is my personal favorite, and I think that is our game-changing product. Most people still use stick deodorant, and after switching to spray, I'm like, I will never go back. It's amazing. So check out our products, check out our site, follow us on social media at curiebod. And I'm pretty active on Twitter. I think that's how we connected.
Absolutely.
So my Twitter handle is that's a Moret with underscores between the words.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link to all that in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I cannot thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their journey and knowledge with us today. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our businesses. Links and more information will be available in the show notes as well. If anything in this podcast resonated with you and your business, feel free to reach out and learn more at electriceye.io/connect. Also, make sure you subscribe and leave an amazing review. Thank you.